With the national unemployment rate still around 9% and New York's at 8% as of June, elected officials on all levels have pledged to focus on job creation. But for people who are out of work, finding jobs to apply for is actually just the big part of the problem. They say that many job listings now include a requirement that you must be employed merely to send your resume in. You're not even eligible. My next guest wants to see that trend come to an end. She has sponsored a bill that would make the unemployed a protected class. Senator Andrea Cousins, it is great to see you in the studio.
It is really good to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, okay, this is a fascinating kind of situation. We're seeing the national stories about it all over the place. But if you would just tell us how it came to your attention.
Well, it came to my attention in that same way. The EEOC in Washington had a hearing in February that was asked for by at least 5 of our congressional delegation here in New York, saying that they were having a great deal of people coming and saying, you know, what is this about that if I don't have a job, I can't seek a job. So the hearing happened. And I guess people came in both sides saying, no, this isn't really a problem. But I thought that it would be a good idea for me to investigate myself. Okay. Had my staff take a look, and we actually saw listing after listing that said, you know, you need not actually even come, don't send me a resume, nothing, if you are not employed.
But there's like an old adage, right? You have to have a job to get a job, right? That it looks better. I mean, none of this is terribly a surprise. It's the codification of it, right? It's the putting on paper, or in this case on Craigslist or wherever you're advertising, that you may not, which is discriminatory. That's the concern.
It is. Of course it is. And, you know, I mean, listen, there is no elected official and probably no member of John Q. Public who doesn't understand how important it is that we get America working. We've got to do jobs, jobs, jobs. Who's going to fill these jobs? But people who actually want to work. So if you know you've got, and in the United States we've got, what, a 9.1% unemployment?
Very high.
13.9 million people out of work. In New York State, with our 8%, that's almost 800,000 people. So if everyone's focused on jobs and not allowing people who have never had a job, for example, you know the story, if you've never been employed, then you need the experience. So then they try and shut out our young workforce. And now you're saying that if indeed, due to no fault of your own even, you are unemployed, you need not apply. So how do we get the unemployment statistics down if we're not going to hire the unemployed?
Okay, but a protected class, what does that mean exactly? You are giving people grounds to sue, really?
Yeah, exactly. I think it's really sad that there are now new ways to make the playing field less level. For people, you know, I mean, we have a long history of combating discrimination, whether it's gender or nationality, color, religion, age. I was shocked, and frankly most people that I've run into were equally shocked that now, all of a sudden, if you're unemployed, you're somebody who should not be considered for work. So yes, they would be protected, they would have a course of action. And by the way, my legislation, mine came out earlier this year, but on the federal level now, Congress has introduced, Senator Blumenthal from Connecticut has introduced a bill on the Senate that Senator Gillibrand is obviously supporting, and there is a companion in the House of Representatives.
But you basically, by doing this, would put unemployment on equal status as race and sexual preference, right? Is that right? I mean, those are protected statuses, right? You can't be discriminated on based on sexual affiliation, the color of your skin, or disability, right? So you're saying basically that a person who is merely just unemployed for whatever reason should be on the same level in terms of having their rights and the ability to sue as a person.
I think that we're talking about protecting people in their quest to fulfill the American dream. And that American dream includes the ability to not face barriers when you are trying to work, trying to be part of what makes America great. That's what this is really about. My hope, Liz, is that there is enough disturbance about that kind of behavior towards the unemployed, especially in this market, that companies that think this might be a good idea kind of back up and say, wait a minute, let's contribute to the growth of the American economy by actually hiring American workers and hiring people who need to be back at work feeling fulfilled. But the reality is that we are seeing it nationally. Governor Christie in New Jersey signed a bill that says you cannot place ads that say that if you're unemployed, you need not apply. So, I mean, it's unfortunately...
But that's almost worse because it drives it underground,
exactly.
right? I mean, you know that people are getting, because of the high unemployment rate, if I have one job that I'm advertising, I've got hundreds of resumes that people are sending me. And you're sifting through, and you say, well, here's a person who hasn't been employed for a year or 9 months is the average, and here's another person who has a job and is looking to excel and step up. You put those against one another, and it seems like human nature that you would pick one over the other.
Well, you know, I think that part of what we've faced over the years in terms of discrimination is people who say just like that, well, it's human nature that I'll pick somebody that looks like me. It's human nature that I pick somebody who is the same gender as I am or the same religion. I mean, that's kind of what the issues are. That frankly, it would be better if human nature allowed for us in its highest form to say, you know what, this is a person that's qualified. They may not look like me, they may not speak like me, they may not have my same beliefs, but this person can do the job. When you start saying that I'm not even going to talk to you because you're unemployed, in a market like this, where there are, as I said, almost 14 million Americans out of work, why would employers even want to participate in a process that kicks somebody when they're down? And that's essentially what this is about.
Isn't this also, though, first of all, how would you enforce it? Right? How would you'd have to, would the State Labor Department, is this addressed in legislation, would the State Labor Department be empowered to go after people who are violating
this? It would be
this?
the course of, you would have a right to sue. You would be able to go through certainly the human rights commissions and so on and so forth. You would have a course of action. And of course, like every other discrimination case, it would be the plaintiff who has to prove the case. But the reality is that once the case is proven, if indeed they are able to prove the case, then sure, there would be some recourse. Again, on a federal level, they're saying it's $1,000 per incident. This is serious. It's serious because we are better than this as a nation. We're better than telling people who, again, many, for no fault of their own, are not able to find a job. When they finally do find something that they're qualified for, to have an employer say, not you.
Do you think, though, this is just addressing the symptom of a bigger problem, which is clearly that the unemployment rate is so enormously high? Do you believe that the Obama administration is sufficiently addressing the issue of unemployment, now trying to pivot off the debt ceiling mess, right, and onto this particular topic?
Well, certainly what I've heard the president say is what everyone else is saying. Now it's about focusing on jobs, jobs. So again, if that's what we're going to do, and I know that everyone I've spoken to believes that indeed is what we should do, then there's no point creating jobs if we're not going to allow the unemployed people who are looking for jobs to fill those jobs if they're qualified. So this is that kick, hopefully, that says, look, again, we're a nation that knows how to face adversity, can look at ourselves when we are being less than our highest selves and to make the appropriate changes. Let's not go down a path that says to somebody you're unworthy because you've lost a job. Let's go down the path that says let's have jobs and let's put people back to work.
Well, this is a new legislation. It has a same-as sponsor in the Assembly, Assemblyman Keith Wright.
Assemblyman Wright.
And I want to thank you very much for coming in.
I enjoyed
Senator
being here.
Cousins, it's great to see you. Thanks very much.
Thank you.